What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes. And in this video I'm going to be giving you guys my first impression and the stat speculation of the spring units that we're going to be getting in like one day. Tomorrow is when the banner comes out. So these are the 2019 spring units and the first unit is Palla. Now when I made the joke tweet on my Twitter, a lot of people said that it's actually Palla on the left side of the silhouette. So yeah, shout out to those 4 people, and her pose actually reminds me of Gasai Yuno from the Future Diary. Her hand positioning actually makes me think that she's a red dagger flyer, and that's a really unique class and does have a lot of novelty. So Palla, definitely my favorite white wing actually. So she has got Pegasus Carrot Plus. This is an inheritable weapon. It's effective on armored units, and if the unit has got a weapon triangle advantage against the foe, then it neutralizes the effects and disables skills that prevent follow-up attacks during the combat. So basically you can use this against weary fighter armor units and someone like Omnibreaker Hector or Omnibreaker builds in general, so that's also useful. And the part of this description is actually mistranslated according to this Reddit thread, so it does not really nullify any kind of status effect because we don't really have any kind of status effect that can prevent follow-up attacks. Yes, we do have the Candlelight status, but that is different. That actually just prevents you from counter-attacking. So that doesn't really neutralize status effects like debuffs or anything like that you might think. So it just disables stuff like Weary Fighter, Omnibreaker builds, and this is a straight up counter to someone like Surtur, so she can definitely be a pretty good arena assault unit, but outside of that she's not going to be having much of a use because she's a seasonal unit, really hard to summon and merge, and in either raids you don't really see a lot of armor units. Duma is the most common armor unit that you might find in ether raids only because he's a anima mythic hero. That's like the only reasons. So there I guess it can be useful, but this is going to be a seasonal weapon, so it's really going to be hard to get. And all of the other units who might want to inherit this weapon are 5-star exclusives. We don't really have any kind of easily accessible like color dagger unit, and this is something which is not really all that useful for colorless dagger units. So pretty specific weapon honestly. And she's got Draconic Aura as her special, Swift Sparrow as a slotted skill because Intelligent Systems doesn't think there's any other slotted skill for any offensive unit in the game, Disarm Trap 3. So this is an Ether Raids exclusive skill. If the unit ends movement on a space with a bold trap or a heavy trap, then it cancels the trap's effect. Now this is not really as appealing as you might think because you can just disable the traps like a normal person using smite or reposition. You can just smite or reposition an ally unit onto the trap. It will have the negative effect, but at least you do not get your movement cancelled. You don't really need the skill for doing that, and not every team needs to disable like lightning traps because for a person like me who uses a lot of distant counter vantage and close counter vantage units in ether raids, bolt traps are the way how I enter into the vantage range, and I would not like to disarm those kinds of traps. So yeah, not really all that appealing in my opinion. This is not really a skill you should go out of your way to get it. I mean, it's a cool skill if you have it, but not really something necessary. And I do suspect that they might release some kind of light or Astra Mythic hero in future that might have some kind of exclusive skill which can disable traps just at the start of turn, kind of like how Duma functions as a like max level catapult in ether raids. So something like that might be a thing in future, so that's why I don't really think you should be paying much attention to this kind of skill. And her Slotsy skill is Own Flyers, which is pretty fantastic. So overall, outside of her dagger, she doesn't really have much appealing on her base kit for fodder. And even then, like her dagger is good for like arena assault and stuff like that. So not really the most impressive base kit, but that dagger is definitely unique and brings something unique to the table for these colored dagger units, definitely. So she's gonna be triggering her Draconic Aura, and she does exactly 15 points of damage from Draconic Aura, which means that she must have an attack stat between 50 to 53 during this combat. Now we have to subtract the Swift Sparrow, which she is getting the buff from because she's initiating attack on this Lance armor. You also have to remove the might of this weapon, so I'm just assuming that she is at 52 attack during this combat. I'm not really considering like the minimum 50 or the highest 53, so I think she's going to be having 36 base attack because of it and 35 base speed. She doesn't really double this Lance 9 mainly because this guy has got Weary Fighter. I don't know why they showcase this against against a blue armor unit when her weapon clearly works against green armor units much better by canceling their Wary Fighter effect. So yeah, red is the best color for this kind of weapon because there are a lot of green armor units in the metagame, so that's definitely pretty good. So I'm expecting like a 36 attack, 35 base speed, 27 defense because I don't want her to be squishy on the defensive side because at least she'll be able to survive like one hit from a distant counter unit. So I want to have a bit of defense on a unit like Palla. Another interesting thing is that because she's a flyer, she can inherit sturdy impact, and that goes really well with her weapon because she's able to break through the Wary Fighter skills of armor units, and with sturdy impact, not only she's gonna be able to disable like the doubles, but she can also disable skills like Vengeful Fighter and Quick Riposte on the slow armor units. So sturdy impact with her weapon is gonna be pretty fantastic. I really wish they actually gave her that skill because it would have comboed much better, and the plus 10 defense from sturdy impact is gonna be absolutely amazing for a unit like her who might have to take a hit from a distant counter armor unit. So yeah, that's Palla. That's the stat line I'm expecting on her. Offensive flyer with decent defense. That's my expectation. And then we have got Marisa. So who could have seen this coming? Marisa gets an alt and she's a lance flyer. So this definitely makes my eyes roll all the way back to my head because she's another lance flyer. Like, why? We just received Thea. Why do you need to bombard us with these lance flyers? I really like Marisa and her design, but like, why lance flyer? She could have been infantry lance unit. We haven't really got those in a while, so why not just make her infantry lance unit? Why another lance flyer? By being a lance flyer, you're by default entering into a very harsh and strict competition among the 3 and 4 star lance flying units from the summoning pool who are just really good, like Shigure, Katria, Claire, even Shana, and many more. Like, there are just gonna be a lot of good lance flyers in the 3-star, 4-star pool. So that definitely lowers her value because you can only have so many stat lines for a class to not make it oversaturated. And lance flyers are definitely a very oversaturated class type. And Thea is also gonna be getting demoted from the banner. So yeah, just another competition that Marisa has to take care of. So she's got Flashing Carrot Plus as her weapon. It's a 14 might weapon, and if the enemy is at full HP, then you get +2 to all of your stats. Pretty decent weapon because it can work in both phases, so that's definitely a boon. And if you're not using anything like Fallen Takumi, Savage Blow, Pain Plus units, or anything like that, and your enemy can stay at full health, then this can be a pretty decent weapon, but definitely a bit situational one. She's got Reposition with a Link skill, which I definitely appreciate. Reposition is the best as a skill for any kind of flyer, and that goes really well with the Link skill. Speed Defense Link isn't really the best Link skill, but still it can be decent, and she's got Flyer Guidance as her slot C skill. She's got 4 skills. Now, I might sound a bit cynical when I say this, and this might just be a tinfoil hat theory, but why give your units 4 skills when you could easily give 5 skills to that said unit to increase their value when you summon them? Especially like for these seasonal units, we know that they're not going to be demoting these seasonal units. There's just no way. So why just give them 4 skills? I think the reason why they're doing that is because they want to push summoning a bit more. Now you might say, how is that pushing summoning? Like, think of the grand scheme of things. You might just get a lot of units like these, you might summon them, and a lot of them might just have 4 skills. You have to fodder off more units to them to fill those empty skill slots, and that takes summoning. So that's what I mean by pushing summoning, because from this year they have been like having these units with 4 skills. Like before that, they consistently used to have units with 5 skills, and any kind of unit that had 4 skills, we knew that it was going to be a demote. So suddenly this year they have started to have like 4 skills on these units, and I think this is just a tinfoil hat theory, but they are trying to push summoning more. But that's just what I think. So yeah, Marisa doesn't really have a special. We only know her HP stat, and it's 42. So it's tying for the highest HP stat with Florina and Walter, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So I hope that she is a bulky lance flyer. Not really more offensive and decent defense lance flyer, because 42 HP with something like 35 defense, which I have right here, is going to be pretty decently unique compared to the existing lance flyers. It's really hard to make these kinds of lance flyers unique, especially when they do not have a preferred weapon. because all of these stat lines are already done pretty much. So I'm expecting her to have high speed, good defense, which can make use of her speed defense link really well. So she can be a pretty good duelist, and she would have like low resistance, decent attack. That's what I'm expecting out of Marisa, because otherwise she's going to be facing incredible competition from existing Lance Flyers, and unless you really like Marisa as a character, you won't really have a lot of reason to summon her, because her fodder isn't really all that good. I mean, Flyer Guidance can be useful for those Ether Raids defense teams which use a lot of flyers, so that can be useful, but that's pretty much it. So that's Marisa, and that's the stat line I'm expecting on her. And next unit that we have got is Bruno, so they have not really forgotten about his existence, I guess. So he is a cavalry staff unit, and this is the first male healer that we have got since the launch of the game. The last male healers were like Azama, Rez, Lucius, all of those, the launch units, and we never had a summonable male healer, so it's definitely different, and I'm a really big fan of T. Axelrod's voice acting. I think he did a fantastic job with Navarre's voice acting, especially in Warriors. I absolutely love Navarre's like support in Warriors, so really happy that Bruno is here. And he has got Ovoid Staff, I think that's how you pronounce it. So at the start of turn, it restores 7 HP to the unit and also to the adjacent allies. It's a bit different version than the weapons of Herons, who restore like 7 HP within 2 spaces. So this just restores the HP to the unit itself, which Herons cannot do, and this only works against adjacent allies, so it doesn't really have the AoE range. Pretty nice support weapon actually, and Martyr Plus might actually be the perfect thing on a unit like him. I'll go over that in a moment. He's got Miracle as a special and attack defense push. I thought they just stopped making these push skills because like solo skills are just much better. Attack speed push is a pretty good skill on a healer because they don't really have access to many offensive skills. Solo skills, push skills, and the bond skills are as offensive skills as they can get. So attack defense push gives him +5 attack, which is going to be pretty fantastic, and +5 defense. Defense part is going to be interesting. I'll go over that once again in a moment. And he has got Dazzling Staff as a slot B skill, so you just have to refine his weapon with Wrathful Staff and you'll have a Razzle Dazzle unit. Absolutely fantastic. If we're going to be giving us any kind of premium staff unit, then definitely have a staff skill on their slot B so that we can easily make them into a Razzle Dazzle unit by just refining their staff. So he has got 41 HP. That's the only stat of him that we know. So this is the stat spread I'm expecting on Bruno. Now, because of the fact that he has got attack defense push, I think he's gonna be more of a defensive cavalry healer, because all of the cavalry healers that we have got as of right now in the game are pretty decently fast. Like the slowest cavalry healer we have in the game is Priscilla at 29 base speed, and that's pretty much it. So I want him to be really slow with that 17 base speed and have those stat points allocated in his attack and also his defense, so he could have the highest base attack for a healer at 37 base attack, which is going to be fantastic, and 34 base defense, so he's able to reach 40 defense with attack speed push, and that's really bulky for a healer that's not a Zama. So yeah, that's gonna be really defensive, and honestly, it would make sense because he's ripped as hell. Just look at those abs. He's the type of range unit that you go to fight in close range, and he still fist fights you. He will pierce the armor of your armor units with his bare fist alone. So yeah, it just makes sense that he's gonna be that defensive, honestly. So I really want him to be slow defensive because I think we have enough cavalry healers that are fast. Some defensive cavalry healers would definitely be pretty nice. So that's my expectation of Bruno. I think he's going to be having more BST because we did receive Sue, who did have updated BST. So I think he's going to be having 149 BST. And the final unit of this banner is Spring Veronica. She's a Green Mage Flyers, and because of that, I think she's going to be having some kind of competition with the existing 3 Green Mage Flyers. So we have got Spring Camilla as the powerful, slow, but defensive Green Mage Flyer. Then we have got Bridal Sanaki, who's powerful, slow, but has more bulk on the magical side. And then we have got Flying Nino, who's just offensive with that Giga Excalibur. So she's definitely going to be having that competition because I think we have got the relevant stat lines covered with the existing Green Mage Flyers. So she's got this weapon whose name I'm not going to be pronouncing. It's a preferred weapon and gives her +3 speed. And at start of combat, if she's above 75% of health, then she's going to be getting +4 to all of her stats during the combat, which means that they do not want you to use the same old combo of Fury Desperation on her, because that is just not going to be working with her weapon. So you probably have to keep her at a good amount of health, and you cannot really use something like Desperation or Vantage with her. But as it is, a lot of people just replace this with Blade Tome on a lot of these offensive mage flyers. So there's that. And this weapon giving her +3 speed is going to be pretty interesting. And she's got Glimmer as her special, pretty good special for any kind of magical unit. And she's got Green Dual Flying. This is the first time that we have got a dual skill on a seasonal unit, so it's gonna be incredibly hard to get hold of this skill. But once this banner goes away and once she has got her place in Lettering Banner, so this Green Dual Flying skill is gonna be pretty useful for people who are trying to plus and merge Racing. But even then, like Sing and Dance don't really have a lot of SP cost, so they're not really gonna be the highest scoring units in Arena. And that's not really the best thing, because you want to have this kind of dual skill on a unit that can reach max score with it to make the best use of it. Some other budget options that might use this skill are Camilla, Shershi, and Veruca. That's pretty much it. I guess Narshian too, but they're not really the best cheerleaders like blue or the red flyers, in my opinion at least. Because in red we have got Aversa and Shida, who are really good support units. Shida can run Wind Sweep or Water Sweep and just weaken down the armor units by just attacking them once with Wing Sword. She can also provide the Ploy utility. And for blue we have got Claire once again for the same role. We also have access to Wagasa Plus, which is an inevitable support lance weapon, which is really fantastic to be honest on any kind of like cheerleader, giving you that -7 defense debuff. So not really as influential as the other dual flying skills in my opinion at least, but still it's going to be useful for the people who have plus in Camilla, Shershis, Verucas, because now they can use them in Arena, and also for the people who are investing into +10 Racing. Not only he provides the Sing support, but he also has the AoE healing, which is going to be really useful. And in general, even though the flying unit doesn't really have a lot of cheerleading options, they can still be a really good support unit because of the fact that they can equip Guidance Sacred Seal, and Guidance Sacred Seal is definitely really useful in higher tiers of Arena, where movement assist skills don't really exist because you have to run these dual rally skills for the scoring, so movement assist skills are not really a thing. So in that case, Guidance provides you more movement options, which is definitely fantastic and a bonus. So that's my thoughts on Green Dual Flying. And then she's got Chill Resistance as a slot B skill, which goes pretty well with her weapon, and I think she's going to be powerful. So here she's going to be triggering Glimmer, and it doesn't really tell us much about her stats because it depends on the resistance of this Lance unit. But this is a generic Lance Knight, the generic 5-star Lance Knight, because he's got 55 HP. So those usually have like 19 resistance, and if he has got that much resistance, then it means that Veronica has got 53 attack during this combat. So as I said, we do have Green Mage Flyers with relevant stat line, but still I think Veronica is going to be powerful because of her weapon. So assuming that this is a generic Lance Knight with 19 resistance, and once we remove the 18 total attack that she gets from her weapon because of its effect and its might, she's going to be ending up at 35 base attack. So she's able to reach 53 attack without counting her slotted skill, and she could have 33 base speed because she already gets like +7 speed from her weapon without counting any kind of slotted skill. So she's able to reach 40 speed with her weapon alone if its effect is active. So that's going to be really powerful with that kind of base attack. And I think she's going to be having decent resistance, and they could actually not min-max her all that much and just give her decent defense and decent resistance instead of having a bit more higher resistance. That's an option which they could do, but I think I would like more resistance on her because she would be able to reach 34 resistance with her weapon. So that's the stat spread I'm expecting, assuming that I'm not messing my speculation up with her attack stat, and assuming this is a generic Lance Knight with 19 resistance. So yeah, that's the stat spread I'm expecting out of Veronica, a Green Mage Flyer. So that is the banner, and we have another unit from this batch, and that is going to be a free reward that we're going to be getting out of the Tempest Trial that begins on 23rd March. So we have got Loki as a free reward, which is actually pretty surprising, and she's a colorless flying archer, which is a very unique class type. So I'm really happy that they gave a unique class type on a free unit, and her art is also out there, so you could just have a look at that. Oh my god, that art. So yeah, really surprising they're actually giving us Loki for free when they could actually have Marisa as the Tempest Trials Reward. I mean, Marisa already has been a free reward once, but Loki is gonna be the free reward. She's got the same artist as Summer Noir. So Loki is definitely gonna be a pretty fantastic free unit, being a colorless archer that's flying. And she also has a 3-turn cooldown special on her, so this means she might have Draconic Aura, Bonfire, Vengeance, Soul, Iceberg, or anything like that. But I'm personally leaning towards Draconic Aura because I believe that Loki is actually a dragon, and she's gonna be the main boss of Fire Emblem Heroes at some point, because the way she behaves around dragons and the dialogue she had with Aversa definitely makes me think that, because Aversa is actually scared of Loki because of her aura. I'm leaning towards Draconic Aura as her special because of that. And I think she's going to be having the bow version of Marisa's weapon, which just gives you +2 to all of your stats if the foe is at full health. And as for skills, I want them to give us Guidance as a free skill that's available at 4-star. I mean, it's already a Sacred Seal, but still I would like that on a Grail unit, I guess. Having easy access to that is going to be pretty nice. So those were my first impression and stat speculation on these units. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my stat speculation. And are you going to be summoning on this banner or not? I would definitely like to know that. So if you enjoyed this video, then please be sure to leave a like. It helps me a lot. And be sure to share this video with your friends who are looking forward to this banner. Maybe they could enjoy the stat speculation I have in this video. And if you haven't already, then make sure to subscribe for more Fire Emblem Heroes content, and please be sure to hit that notification bell and set it to always so that you can get the updates to my videos, because YouTube is about as functional as all of the other Lance flyers that we keep getting, even though we already have enough of those. So with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.